Joining us now, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, a Republican congresswoman from the state of New York. She also is on the House Ways and Means Committee and assistant whip for the GOP conference. Congresswoman, great to have you on as we enter this important week, and I know you're probably right in the middle of it. Late Friday, we got a look at the initial, very bare bones version of what this House tax bill could look like. I'm curious, as the last couple of days have played out over the weekend, have you been talking with your colleagues? What's going on, and where do you see things standing right now? Have any progress been made over the weekend?
Well, on the tax piece, we've made significant progress, and we're going to deliver a bill this week and pass it out of the House Ways and Means Committee that does increase the standard deduction, the child tax credit for American families. We're going to deliver on the promise to reduce taxes for tipped workers, for senior citizens, and for working families. And I think the American people will be happy, particularly those who are in the middle class, who are, have been struggling, but this will allow them to keep more money in their pocket. And on the state and local tax deduction, which is incredibly important for people I represent in Staten Island and Brooklyn, the people who live in New York, high tax states where we're being hammered by our mayor and governor. We're going to deliver relief, and I believe that we're going to get, at minimum, we're going to triple the SALT deduction, which will be thousands of dollars in savings for your average family, like the ones that I represent in my district.
And so I do want to ask you about that, not to get too in the weeds, but I think you just laid it out for everyone there. These are state and local taxes that previous to the 2017 bill, you could write off going up to whatever number you paid. That then set it at $10,000. There was a cap. You, I believe, have proposed $30,000, which, as you mentioned, would be tripling what it currently is. Other colleagues of yours who are from the state of New York, though, want to return it back to what it previously was, and they've been very clear that they don't want to support anything less than that. How do you see that playing out? And do you think that you guys can get there on some sort of compromise?
Well, look, I think everyone has to go in this fighting for their constituents. And in my case, $30,000 would cover 98% of the families that I represent. And I've always been focused on delivering for the middle class. I've never been in this to, try to lower taxes or give a break to the millionaires and billionaires. And so we can cover everyone earning roughly less than $400,000 if we do the 30%, $30,000 cap. What I would say is, obviously, if we can get a little more to cover more of these districts, that would be great, but we have to balance. Everything has a counterbalance, right? And so we're going to go in here, focus on the middle class. And I think this coupled, by the way, with, for example, my legislation that would provide an additional $4,000 deduction for senior citizens, $8,000 if they are married. That is huge, and that is going to really reduce the tax burden that they have. And when we have seniors who are paying taxes on their Social Security, if they have a combined income of over $25,000 or $32,000 if they're married, that's a significant savings for them. And so we're doing what we can to try to get more, allow these individuals to keep more money in their pockets, and that should be, that's always been the Republican principle, right? To allow people to keep their hard-earned money.
And so when you do send this out of committee, will it be at $30,000, the cap?
Well, we have to see. Tomorrow, actually, that language will come out. We do have a call tomorrow morning with these other members who represent state and local tax states, meaning, blue states where we have a high tax burden, and we'll see. But as of right now, the proposal has been a $30,000 deduction, and that will be, again, limited based on income. And so we're focused on the middle class, but we'll see what happens in tomorrow's call.
And then there's also the question of, we heard from another one of your colleagues, Chip Roy, and he, I think, represents kind of another group of House Republicans who are very focused on making sure that there are enough cuts to offset any, the deficit that will grow by extending these tax cuts. Where do you come down on that? Where do you? I know you've come on plenty of times and been very descriptive about cutting out waste, fraud, and abuse. But where do you think practically those cuts can come from that will make the Chip Roys of the world happy and also allow you all to extend these tax cuts?
Yeah. And that's why I say this process is one where we need to have balance, right? We're not going to get everything we want. with regards to tax cuts, and it's because they do need to be offset. And now with the savings, we're looking at, yes, waste, fraud, abuse, unnecessary overhead. We're looking at some of the abuses that the states use to try to get more federal funds in matching. They tax local medical facilities just to get that matching 50%. We're looking to see if we should increase how much skin states have in the game. For example, on the expansion, the federal government is picking up 90% of that share. On all other traditional Medicare, the federal government's picking 50% of that share. We've said we don't want to lower that 50% match on the traditional that supports our seniors and individuals with disabilities and our children with developmental disabilities. But maybe on the expansion, maybe the state should be kicking in a little more than 10%, and that would give them incentive to ensure that people who are legally eligible for the program are the ones who are actually using it. I mean, obviously, there's no incentive for the states to crack down on fraud and waste if they're getting 90% of the share picked up by the federal government. So we're looking at those different options. My goal has always been to protect our seniors, our disabled, the vulnerable citizens who have relied on the Medicaid program. That's where our focus needs to be. We're not going to cut benefits for those individuals. The president has said it, the speaker has said it, the chairman of the committee has said it, and certainly multiple members like myself have said it. So we are in disagreement with some of our colleagues on the Republican side, but there's a balance to be struck here, and I think we're going to get there, and we'll have a very good piece of legislation that will save money, but will deliver the programs that are necessary in an efficient way. And what savings we have, we will pass on to our middle class and working class who work very hard and deserve to keep more of their hard-earned tax dollars.
Yeah. All right. Well, you've got a big week, and like you said, lots of work ahead to find whatever that consensus will be. Congresswoman, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ethics expert